Buck Rogers in the 25th Century was a sci-fi series produced by Universal that ran for 2 seasons between 1979 and 81 on NBC. The pilot was released as a full-length feature film and was received warmly by audiences, who loved it for its campy charm. After being given its own series, however, the show struggled to find a dedicated viewer base. NBC canceled the series abruptly at the end of the 11th episode of the 2nd season. Not only was the show negatively affected by the 1981 writers' strike, but its ratings also dropped significantly after the season premiered. The series revolved around the adventures of Captain Buck, a 20th century astronaut who emerged out of 500 years of suspended animation, only to become Earth's most epic hero. While it only ran for a couple seasons, Buck Rogers in the 25th Century left its mark on culture. Audiences were treated to 37 hour-long specials featuring Buck and his pal, and it's looked back on fondly by its fans. Join us as we take a look back at the cast of this classic sci-fi series and see what they're up to today. Gerard, Captain Buck Rogers. Before he was defending the world from alien foes, Captain Buck was a U.S. Air Force pilot and astronaut. After a freak accident during a deep space flight mission, he found himself waking up in the year 2491, some 500 years after leaving Earth. While Buck Rogers was the series that many people remember Gerard best for, he received his big break in 1973 when he was cast as Dr. Alan Stewart in the daytime soap The Doctors. In 1977, he played Frank Powers in Airport 77. After starring in the brief yet memorable sci-fi hit series, Gerard headlined several TV movies before playing the lead in another short-lived series in 1986 called Sidekicks. After that run, the roles started getting elusive for Gerard. This is made especially evident by his 1990 series Earth Force, which was quickly axed by CBS after 3 episodes. In 2005, Gerard was the subject of a documentary film written and produced by Adrian Crowe, his then long-term companion. The film detailed his gastric bypass surgery. Gerard battled with his weight, and many attribute this struggle to his addictive personality. When he was younger, he had drug and alcohol problems, and this eventually evolved into compulsive eating. His bad habits led him to experience dire health problems, including obesity and type 2 diabetes. After having the gastric bypass procedure done, he lost 145 pounds. After shedding that weight, he reunited with his Buck Rogers co-star Erin for the 2007 TV film Nuclear Hurricane. Most recently, he appeared in the 2016 film The Nice Guys. At 78 years old, it seems like Gerard has pretty much retired from acting. But who knows, we might see him again if the right role comes his way. Hey, if you're enjoying this video so far, be sure to give it a like and subscribe to Facts First for more. Erin, Colonel Deering. As a romantic interest for Buck and eye candy for the young men and boys who watched Buck Rogers in the late 70s, Colonel Deering took charge. Her character was a loyal and courageous defender of Earth and was inspirational to everyone watching. Gray started off as a model. She had dropped out of UCLA and relocated to New York to pursue that career choice, and her efforts paid off. By the mid-70s, she was one of the most celebrated models in the nation, netting just about $100,000 a year. In her first acting role, she naturally played a model as well. That was in a 1976 episode of the sitcom Maude. Her time on Buck Rogers is still what she's best known for, however, especially by those who couldn't help but crush on her. She had undeniable sex appeal, and she owned it quite well. But that sex appeal also proved problematic. Her costume was so tight, she literally had to be sewn into it, and throughout the series, she wore progressively skimpier outfits. This led the network execs to become nervous as the censors were beginning to complain. Even though this was the late 70s, Buck Rogers was still a show intended for younger audiences. After Buck ended, Gray co-starred in another hit television series, Silver Spoons. And while she was never able to recreate the same kind of magic she had with Buck Rogers or Silver Spoons, she is still working. In 2006, she starred in the musical comedy Siren, and more recently she appeared in the 2018 Lifetime holiday film My Christmas Inn. Felix, Silla, and Mel Blanc. Twiki was a small robot character designed to work in space mines. Felix, Silla, was called in to provide Twiki's physical experience, while Mel Blanc gave him a voice. Silla was born in Italy and trained in the circus before moving to the U.S. in 1955. He joined the Ringling Brothers Circus and in 1963 started acting. In 1965, he portrayed Cousin It on The Addams Family. That led to a handful of other guest and supporting roles throughout the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Some of the most notable roles include playing the polka dot horse in H.R. Pufnstuf and an Ewok in Star Wars: The Return of the Jedi. His last role was playing the Emperor Penguin in Batman Returns. Sadly, he passed away in 2021 from pancreatic cancer at age 84. Mel Blanc, the voice of Twiki, was an incredibly prolific voice actor who earned himself the apt nickname the Man of 1,000 Voices. Throughout his career, he provided the voices for such characters as Bugs Bunny, Barney Rubble, and Mr. Spacely. Blanc died in 1989 at 81. Tim O'Connor, Dr. Huer. O'Connor's character led up the Defense Directorate. He played a friendly and ever-so-helpful statesman-like figure who gave Buck a helping hand when he needed it the most. While Buck was clearly the star of the show, Dr. Huer was a critical addition from the get-go. As a wise, mentor-esque addition to the cast, O'Connor gave a bit of much-needed stability to the out-of-this-world series. Tim got his start in show business in the mid-50s, but he's arguably best known for playing Elliot Carson on Peyton Place. He appeared in over 400 episodes of that soap between 1964 and 68. He also had roles on series like Barnaby Jones and Dynasty, and appeared in the second installation of the Naked Gun films. After retiring from acting in 1997, O'Connor spent his twilight years sailing in the waters off Mexico in his 32-foot Pearson Vanguard sailboat. He briefly came out of retirement in 2011 to appear in the drama Dreams Awake alongside Erin Gray, but sadly he passed away in 2018 from colon cancer at age 90. Eric Server, Dr. Theopolis. This character, known as Theo, was a hyper-intelligent computer that somewhat resembled an old-school jukebox. His role was assimilating Buck Rogers after he awoke from his 500 years of suspended animation. Server began his acting career in the early 70s and made appearances in guest and bit roles on TV shows. A few notable credits were for Streets of San Francisco, BJ and the Bear, and Star Trek Deep Space Nine. After retiring, he briefly re-emerged in 2014, appearing in Mom's Night Out. Nowadays, the 77-year-old lives in Burbank, California with his wife and 2 kids. He doesn't do much acting anymore, but he does work as a licensed tax consultant at his son's accounting firm, Server & Associates.
These childish maneuvers.
Thom Christopher, Hawk. Half man, half bird, Hawk appeared in the second season of the Trailblazing series. Just where exactly his wings went, we don't know, but despite his lack of feathered appendages, his bird-like spacecraft was quite impressive. Christopher, who's now 81, might be best known for his work on Buck Rogers, but you might have also seen him in 2 episodes of Kojak or in his 24-episode run on the soap One Life to Live as Carlo Hesser. While he hasn't acted much in recent years, he was featured in the 2017 television film Addicted. Now it's time to hear from you. If there's ever a Buck Rogers remake, who would best play Captain Buck and Colonel Deering? Let us know in the comment section below. And before you go, make sure you give this video a like and subscribe to Facts First if you haven't already. Click the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest content.